Well, hey, y'all, you have heard the phrase, somebody is outstanding in their field. I'm outstanding in my flower bed, and it is time to wash up these hummingbird feeders. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take y'all in the house and show you how I wash them up and all that stuff. But I love these shepherd hooks. There's two. I'll turn y'all around. The light's terrible. But what I like to do, because this hook obviously is not going to fit on this, I use zip ties, and they'll last for several seasons. But I just hang them from zip ties, and that works out good. So we'll take this in the house, and we'll get it washed up, and I'll tell you about the kind I like to use. So see y'all back in the kitchen. All right, we're back in the kitchen, and I'm going to wash up this hummingbird feeder. But before I do, I'm going to tell you about the mix. Hummingbird nectar is a 1 to 4 ratio, 4 parts water to 1 part white regular sugar. Not powdered sugar, not baking sugar, regular sugar, 4-to-1 ratio. And what I do, I have this I love this Tupperware. I've had this thing, I don't have no idea how many years. But if I fill it to that line with water, I use 1.5 cups of sugar. Now, in the summer, in the hot part of the summer, if I have a whole lot of hummingbirds, I'll make it up and keep it in this tea pitcher and keep it in the refrigerator. I have been known to pour it in my tea, and it's just water and sugar, y'all. It's no big deal. But you do not have to use the one with the red dye. Their little bodies don't like it, and it hurts their little bodies, and they don't need it. They will the hummingbird feeders have red on them, and it'll attract them. So you really don't have to give that chemical to them, which is not good for them. But when you're washing your let me tell you about my very, very favorite feeder first. It's a Perky Pet, and it's a flat, holds about 2 cups of nectar, and it's a flat feeder. It's easy as Pete to clean, y'all. The lid just pops off like that, and these little things just pop out. Now I don't. Where is my little toothbrush? Well, I'll do that later when y'all are watching me. You understand what to do with the toothbrush. You can just take your toothbrush under hot water. I don't use any soap suds at all because the residue is not good for their little body. But you just rinse this real good under some good hot water. And I use a clean paper towel. And you just take your water. This is what I like about these, y'all. They're so easy to clean. I've had some of those glass ones and plastic ones that are tall, and they're so hard to clean, especially if you're going to have a whole lot of feeders. Right now, I've just got 3 feeders out, but I have had as many as 8 out. And this I'll tell you, there is a hummingbird, let me get this right, I'm going to tell y'all straight. There's a hummingbird migration celebration, September the 9th and September the 11th. It's over a weekend, and it's at Strawberry Plains Audubon Center in Holly Springs, Mississippi. And we went one year, y'all, and it was amazing. I had always heard, I gotta have both hands, don't let the birds from one feeder see the birds on another feeder. Y'all, this place at Holly Springs, they've got feeders galore, and some of them are like 4 and 5 feet apart. And those birds cannot protect one feeder. Whenever I had just one feeder here and one feeder on the other side of the house, you'd have an old bully bird, and he would keep everybody away from that one. Well, if you have several feeders, that old bully, he can't do nothing with all of those feeders. So, what I do, I put out my washing machine needs my attention. I'm not going anywhere. But I'll put out my first feeder, and I bring them in every 2, 3, 4 days, especially when it gets hot. I clean them more regular, every other day at least. But I'll put my feeder out, and then whenever that feeder has 4 or 5 that's loving it, I put out another feeder. And some years I have just a whole gaggle. They're not called a gaggle, they're called a charm. A bunch of hummingbirds is called a charm. A lot of years I'll have a whole lot, and some years I don't have as many. So I don't really know how many we're going to have at any given time, but I want them to feel welcome and get a full belly, because we don't want anybody going hungry, do we? Now there is a brush, and I got this at a Ace Hardware place, and I only use it for cleaning hummingbird feeders. when I was trying to use those glass ones, which I don't like anymore, but this goes down in there so easily, and you can just clean it with hot water very, very simply, and they weren't that much. It's never going to wear out because I'm not using those kind of feeders anymore. But the feeders that I use, I bought these at probably Lowe's, but you can order them online. And the container and the lid will last forever, y'all. But the little yellow things will kind of dry rot after a while, and you can get replacements for those. They're just, you just pop them out and pop them back in. And one time, y'all, this is kind of funny. I think it's funny. I think I'm going to go to the dollar store and get some red plastic tablecloths and tack them down to the yard and get a whole bunch of hummingbirds. And you know what I realized after that? The roof of our house is red metal. I think I was having a blonde moment. I do. So I'm going to wash this lid up. I got to get that toothbrush that I only use for hummingbirds. And we'll get back together and we'll put this out. And my hydrangeas are blooming very, very well this year. So I want to show you my hydrangeas too. Because when we painted Sarah's house, is that when we did a little garden tour? Yes, they were not blooming. And I'm going to show them to you. So anyway, I'll see y'all back outside. Y'all hang on. Well, alrighty. I've got it hung back there, and my chair is on the other side of that window, so I get to sit there and watch the hummingbirds. It's so much fun. I just love them. But this is a perennial black-eyed Susan that is not blooming yet, and my 3 hydrangeas are doing so good. And there's some little plants I stuck in there since y'all were here last time. And I know y'all probably think, what is the big deal? She keeps talking about these hydrangeas, or as my mama would have said, hydraniums. These were from my daddy and my grandma's service, and we had these windows replaced about 8-9 years ago, and this is the first year they have actually come back and bloomed. So y'all, that is the big deal. But this liatris I was showing you last week, it is about to bloom, and it's going to have beautiful purple spears. But I just want to show you how big that hydrangea is. Let's see if I can put my hand over there. Look at that. That is a handful right there. It is. Alrighty. Well, and I was going to tell y'all on the, I'll let y'all look at something pretty instead of me. On the hummingbird food, that 1-to-4 ratio, that's 1 part sugar to 4 parts water, which will equal 1 cup of sugar to 4 cups of water, and you can just do the math on how much you need from there. Alrighty, I'll see y'all next time. Well, I thought I would show y'all a beautiful yellow Stella d'Oro daylily, and a wormwood decided to jump way over here and live by it, and I think they were pretty together. But I want to tell you, you do not have to boil your water when you're making hummingbird nectar. If the water is good enough to drink, it's good enough to just add sugar and go ahead and just make it without boiling it. Because the first time one of them sticks their little beak into it, they're introducing bacteria. So you don't have to boil your water. And one other thing, I've always had trouble with ants in mine. Not every one of them, but some of the feeders will get ants in them. And I've tried all the lotions and potions that people say, and I tried last week diatomaceous earth, and I bet I put a cup around one of the shepherd's hooks, and the next day the ants crawled over it like it was nothing. The best thing I have found for ants is petroleum jelly, and I just take a wet paper towel and wipe down the shepherd's hook, and then down around the base, not the base, but about 3 or 4 inches up, I'll put just a good thick layer of petroleum jelly all over it, and that's about the best thing I've ever found. You just have to be vigilant and keep it there. But anyway, isn't nature wonderful, y'all?